Game 3 of a critical 6-game series between the defending AAA national champion Durham Bulls and the AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre RailRiders. And welcome to downtown Durham, intersection of Jackie Robinson and Blackwell. Series even, one game apiece. 7-6 win for the RailRiders last night after the Bulls took the series opener on Labor Day Monday in 10 innings, 4-3. It's a 3.5 game lead for the first place Bulls. Scott Pose with 19 to play. 4 more heads up against the RailRiders. Welcome back.
Well, glad to be back, but what makes this series big is the team that's right behind the Bulls in this standings is Scranton right now for the record, so you can make some and put some real distance between the Bulls and that next team, and that's why these games are so important. You're not looking for help from anybody else. You can take care of business here. But business here is going to be very interesting because the Bulls are shorthanded in a sense. And you've got just very few position players, although capable, and then you're going to need somebody to step up in the bullpen against a very potent lineup. That's going to be the story tonight, but if the Bulls can pull that off, it sets up really well for the rest of the week.
All right, Josh Fleming takes the hill for the Bulls. 9th start with Durham, 13th overall appearance, 8 wins and 2 losses, an earned run average of .319. So he will get the call tonight for the Durham Bulls in Game 3 of this series. Patrick Keene is here, former New York Yankees outfielder Scott Pose to my right, and Scott is here through the duration of this series. Well, as you heard from Brady Williams, the Bulls manager in the pregame show, not a lot of available arms behind Fleming, who will be maxed out at 3 innings tonight. A couple of guys are still nicked up, and then only 2 players on the bench for the Bulls as well. We'll get into those storylines as tonight moves on. It is a beautiful night, just 76 degrees, calm winds, blue skies. And let's get to the lineup card signed by former NC State star Doug Davis, who's the manager of the Scranton Wilkes-Barre RailRiders, at 70 and 60 as Fleming's opening pitch is 91 at the knees on top prospect Anthony Volpe. He's at the top of the order at shortstop. Chris Owens bats second, plays second base, and Bent Rortvedt, the catcher, hits third. 0-1 pitch, a little outside. Ryan Lamar, who hit 8th last night, is the cleanup hitter tonight for Scranton. Lamar in right. Phillip Evans at first, Armando Alvarez at third base, then Tyler Wade in center, Max McDowell is the DH, and Matt Pita bats ninth and plays left. Fleming marginally high on a 1-1 pitch, falling behind Volpe, who has hit in each of his first 5 games since coming up to AAA. 21-year-old shortstop checks his swing, and the appeal rejected by Jose Navas, who rejoins the umpiring crew tonight. 3-1 on Volpe. 9 of his first 20 with a couple of runs batted in. And the pitch from Josh Fleming fouled away. Swinging on that fastball, and it's full count. Volpe, 18 homers, stole 44 bases at AA Somerset. And made his AAA debut last Friday for Scranton. And Fleming trying to set the early tenor. Here's the 3-2 on Volpe. Check swing, strike 3 call on a Fleming sinker, and Volpe discarded to open the game.
A nice job by Fleming to battle back in that count after he fell behind, but he buries this sinker right in the zone. It freezes Volpe, and it's a good put-away pitch. It's important to keep that speed off the bases, as Patrick mentioned. Volpe can run, and he'll run at will. Best way to combat that is to send him right back to the bench.
All right, and here is Chris Owens, who was the 9-hole hitter last night for the RailRiders. Swings and misses a lethal breaking ball down and in from Fleming. Fleming 2 innings on Sunday, came on in relief. Again, he's being built back up by the Rays. And the 0-1 pitch on the right-handed Owens is a tad low, 1-1. 53-plus innings for Fleming. He has struck out 39, walked 10. Was on the opening day roster for Tampa Bay, working mainly in long relief before he was optioned down to Durham. Came to the Bulls in the middle of May and then went on just an incredible run of starting. He won 5 consecutive decisions. He's 8-2 overall. And this one is slapped on a bounce, couple of hops to the right side. Long run to chase it down for Xavier Edwards, and he throws out Owens on a close play.
Not an easy play for Edwards as he was ranging all the way to his left. He had a lot of ground to cover and then instinctively turned into his throwing arm. Didn't turn against his body, but in that spin, The hard part is locating Haley at first. He does so and makes the play just in time. Well done.
And 2 outs now, and here's the first of 2 lefties in the lineup who will face Josh Fleming. Catcher Ben Rortvedt, and he takes strike 1 from Fleming. Well, Brady Williams, now we're talking about the defense of Xavier Edwards in the pregame show. I mean, he right now is in a groove, making every play possible, whether it's at third base, shortstop, or tonight at second, as Rortvedt takes the ball from Fleming. Fleming's been up with the Rays a couple of times this year. Spent some time on the injured list, battling back from an oblique injury. Returned to the Bulls in late August, and misses inside and falls behind 2-1. 3 innings for Fleming tonight, and then basically most of the arms who did not throw last night, and then possibly even Dalton Moats, who did throw last night, available. This one's driven toward the left field wall. Raley plays it on a hop. Rortvedt on the way to second. A good throw, has a shot. The tag applied late, though. Rortvedt got in. Raley's throw came right to the bag. Edwards was waiting and got the glove down, and apparently Rortvedt slid away from the tag.
Well, and slid into Edwards' arm. I think he got spiked when he put that tag down in a hurry because it was a good throw. Raley got it in, and it looked like that call could have gone either way. But the spike came up and got Edwards on the forearm.
Yeah, that glove is off for Xavier Edwards right now. Rortvedt appears to be checking on X to see if he's all right, and he's shaking out that glove hand. So it's a double for Rortvedt with 2 outs in the first inning, and now it's Ryan Lamar, the veteran outfielder. First pitch skips through the dirt, knocked down by Pinto, and holds the runner. Well, this series, which began on Labor Day Monday and then had Tuesday off and continued last night, it's been a story of clutch 2-out hits on both sides. Nick Anderson had a tough time shutting down in the 8th inning last night with 2 outs and nobody on. Fleming trying to do it here, and there's a strike punched out by the home plate umpire Takahito Matsuda. 1-1 on Lamar. Lamar 275, couple of homers, 11 RBIs. He spent a couple of different stints on the injured list this year. Deep in the box, bats right-handed. And Fleming's 1-1. A swing and a high foul pop down the right field line. Ruben Cardenas playing right field tonight. Watches that one sail out of play.
Lamar's a former Michigan grad,
Yes,
is he
he
not? Or
is.
is a Michigan grad. And I believe he was a teammate of Jake Cronenworth on that storied run that they went all the way to the College World Series final in 2019, if I remember correctly.
Is this where I'm supposed to say go blue?
I don't think you would ever say that.
I'm never going to say go blue. Go Cats. Breaking ball down, 2-2. Beat Duke Saturday.
Ooh.
Noon kick. Bulls played 6:35.
So that means you're going to see
That's
the game.
Great scheduling.
Yes.
I might come out here to have that flash on the video board here in the Monster and just camp out in the left field grass.
Will the helmet make the appearance at the DBAP is the question.
Very well could, because the Bulls players would probably be throwing a whole bunch of junk at me. Why are you watching that game out there? Here's the 2-2 from Fleming. A cut and a miss, and Lamar down on strikes. First inning is over, and Fleming does strand Ben Rortvedt at second base. So we are underway. Third game of this series. Scranton nothing, and the Bulls coming up. Well, just a beautiful Thursday night in downtown Durham. Welcome back to the DBAP. Last of the first inning, and here is the former Green Hope Falcon, Mitch Spence, who takes the DBAP mound for the first time in his career, makes his 7th AAA start. Grew up in Cary and pitched Green Hope High School to its first ever state championship appearance back in 2016, losing in 2 games to North Davidson, and now a AAA with the Yankees. And the right-hander's opening pitch is low on Vidal Brujan. 4-seamer, 2-seamer, slider, curve change for Spence. Spent 3 years pitching at Division II South Carolina Aiken, and drafted 3 years ago in the 10th round. And the 1-0 pitch from Spence, a bunt try by Brujan on the grass, third baseline, tough play. Rortvedt bare hands, wheels the throw that draws Phillip Evans slightly off of the bag. The speed of Brujan wins the play, and it's a leadoff single for the Bulls.
An excellent bunt by Brujan, and what makes this is the placement. Rortvedt got out of the box in a hurry as the catcher, He was the only one that could make the play, but by the time he spun, that speed forced him to throw that offline. Just a great play and a great way to start this game for the Bulls. Speed's aboard, and Bruhan forces the action.
Well, that's already a great impression by Bruhan. Just rejoined the team on the active roster today after he was optioned down by the Rays. And now with the absence of Miles Masterboni for the next 3 days, they need Vidal not only to play but be engaged and help this team win. Strike one on Xavier Edwards, the two-hitter. Here's the rest of the Bulls lineup. With Bruhan in center, Edwards the two-hitter at second base. Josh Lowe is on deck as the Bulls DH. Luke Raley cleans up and plays left. And Bruhan deep crouch with the first base lead, not going, and Edwards takes low. Rene Pinto is the Bulls catcher. Tristan Gray hits sixth and plays third tonight. Jim Haley at first base. Ruben Cardenas is in right, and then Alika Williams at shortstop. Yes, no Wander Franco tonight. He has joined the Tampa Bay Rays, who are off tonight, and he could be activated as early as tomorrow as they start their series in the Bronx against the Yankees, as Edwards tips one foul. Franco got through the entire game last night, 5 at-bats, had 3 hits, and said so long to his teammates and the coaching staff after last night's game. If this were May, the Rays would probably let him take a couple more games here with the Bulls, but it's September 8th, and they're making a hard charge of the Yankees, and they need all of their bullets in the chamber. Bruhan's running. Fly ball, Edwards slicing toward the left field line into foul grounds, and no play for Pita. And Bruhan went in hard to the second base bag, and he still is on the second base bag, and now will slow walk back to first.
He doesn't want to go back. He had a great jump. He had that base stolen. But Edwards fouls this one off, and he'll have to restart.
But I'm already enamored with Bruhan's energy tonight.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very good sign for a Bulls team that needs it.
Well, there's something to be said, because when you go up to the major leagues and you could be the guy in AAA, but when you're the bench guy up there, that can be tough. And when you get inserted into a lineup and you're in a playoff, no, it's not the big leagues, but it's rejuvenating, and it's what you're used to doing, playing every day.
Ball and 2 strikes, and a very large lead for Bruhan away from Evans. Spence off the third base side of the rubber, and a throw on Bruhan back standing.
Yeah, the RailRiders saw the same thing I did. Bruhan got a great jump, and they say, hey, you've got to stop that. And so as a result, Spence pays some attention to him.
Bruhan 15 of 25 stealing, and he will not go here. The pitch on Edwards is in and low, 2-2.
Spence doesn't throw anything straight. He throws a lot of cutters, a lot of downward action, but he is going to throw a lot of breaking stuff and a lot of cutters. Edwards did a good job to lay off that one, and he tried to run in.
Gets the sign from Rortvit. 2-2 count with Bruhan at first. And the pitch is hit foul just above the brick, straight back. Spence began the year at Double-A Somerset. 15 starts there, was 3-5, had a 5.24. And then came up to Scranton on the day of the trading deadline as the Yankees basically traded away 3/5 of their pitching staff here in Scranton. And he was called up, made his debut. 6 starts so far, 30-plus innings. He's fan 23. Two balls and 2 strikes on Xavier Edwards, averaging .270 with 5 home runs. He and Bruhan switch hitters. Bruhan holds, and a pitch up in the zone, fouled into the midst of Rortvit, and Edwards down on strikes.
A good job by Spence to change the eye level there. He'd been working Edwards down and in primarily. Elevates a four-seamer. It looks big to Edwards. He can't catch up.
So now it's Josh Lowe for the Bulls. Durham 3.5 games up on the RailRiders. Jacksonville and Lehigh Valley are both 4.5 back starting action tonight. Jacksonville home with Iowa. First pitch on Josh Lowe, a little tight. And Lehigh Valley doubleheader at home with Worcester tonight. And Lehigh Valley is leading the opening game in the 6th. We'll keep you abreast of all of those. 19 games left in the regular season. That's it. Bruhan at first base establishes a decent lead, not going. And Lowe takes a fastball for a strike. And you will hear a smattering of applause with called strikes with Spence on the hill. not because of the Yankee fans in attendance, but the pass list is at least 22 large for Spence, who again grew up in Cary, out of Green Hope High School. And the righties 1-1, a bluff by Brujan, not going. The pitch was low. I would imagine his high school head coach is out here as well. Michael Miragliolo. He has pitched on a minor league mound in the Triangle before. That was the 4A state championship at Five County Stadium. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Josh Lowe. His last outing beaten by Syracuse, gave up 10 hits over 5 2/3 and allowed 4 runs. 2-2 counts on Josh Lowe, hitting .302. And Brujan holds, hard breaking ball, snaps down, and Lowe swings over the top. And that's back-to-back strikeouts of a couple of lefties after the bunt single by Brujan.
Well, big sweeping curveball of the 12-6 variety. This breaks straight down, and right now Spence is going to have the advantage over the Bulls as they haven't yet seen him. And now you're getting an idea what it's going to be like. It will be interesting second and third time through. But Spence doing a good job right now of mixing up that breaking pitch and using it to get low.
All right, 2 outs now. Luke Raley comes to the hill. Little delay as the ball was dropped in the right field corner. Ryan Lamar grabbed, and then all of a sudden, sprinting from the Bulls dugout was the bat boy. He had to give a couple of more baseballs to the home plate umpire. Brujan holds. Raley takes low. 0-0, bottom of the first inning. And Rourke with a glance to the third base dugout for the RailRiders. Trying to keep an eye on Brujan. Larger lead by Brujan, and the throw goes over. That's why Rourke was looking over into the dugout. Luke Raley, the game-winning single over a drawn-in infield on Labor Day night. 295, 36 knocked in, 10 home runs. Brujan not running, and the 1-0 pitch is a topper hit softly fouled on the first baseline past the end of the Bulls dugout. And a 1-1 count. Raley drove in a run last night with a ground out. Bulls had a 5-2 lead going to the 7th. Could have extended to a 5.5 game lead on Scranton if they closed it out. This one cut down the right field line. Trouble if fair, but it lands against the really side protective railing of the Bulls dugout, or probably the Bulls bullpen, 1-2.
Well, this may be another thing that I get wrong tonight, but yet, wasn't Raley at the plate for that unusual play that you were trying to describe?
Oh, yeah.
Where he unfortunately got his bat in the path of a throw down to third?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was in Charlotte last week. Never seen it before.
Nor had I, but you described it very eloquently, but it made a lot of sense once I saw the video.
Yeah. Ball and 2 strikes. Brujan at first. 2 outs now. And he will hold. The pitch on Raley breaks his bat. Pop fly into the shift. The second baseman, Owens, is out in the right field grass to put that one down. And Spence elicits some applause from the DBAB fans. Done with 1, Durham nothing, Scranton nothing. Hey fans, we are getting into the season of giving, so make sure you sign up to be a Salvation Army of Durham Angel Tree volunteer. You can visit their table located in the concourse before leave tonight. Salvation Army of Durham is here with us tonight, collecting some canned goods. They'll go help families all across the Triangle. For more info, visit salvationarmydurham.com. Glad to have them with us tonight. Glad to have you with us. First pitch slapped on a couple of hops out to second base. Xavier Edwards jogging toward first, makes the easy play. And the toss to Haley to retire Phillip Evans.
This is good on a couple of fronts. First, if you're Fleming and you know your outing's going to be limited, it keeps the pitch count down. It's an efficient out, 1 pitch, 1 out. An outstanding play by Edwards. Once again, continues the defense.
All right, here is Armando Alvarez, third baseman for the RailRiders. 271 with 14 home runs, takes ball 1. Defensively for the Bulls, boy, Luke Raley is very deep. His heels are almost on the warning track at left. Brujan in center, Cardenas in right. And the 1-0 pitch from Fleming A top of the zone strike. Tristan Gray at third base. Alika Williams is at shortstop. Edwards a bit up the middle at second. Haley at first. Fleming and Pinto the Bulls battery. Here's the 1-1 pitch from the left-handed Fleming. A little bit down. 2-1.
So Rayleigh's not anticipating any bloopers in left field, evidently.
That's about as far back as I've seen any left fielder all year here. And this one is hammered out to center field. Brujan was in, races back, onto the warning track. This ball is gone. Just over the padded yellow line, up around the bike rack. And Armando Alvarez knocks out his 15th of the year, and the RailRiders have a second inning lead, 1-0. There was a reason Luke Raley was playing deep and left.
They had the scouting report on Alvarez as he hammers this to right center. That ball just kept going. He generated some backspin. They had that sound. The ball carries on out. Scranton leads 1-0.
That's 15 home runs in only 76 games for Alvarez, the former colonel at Eastern Kentucky. So here's Tyler Wade, left-handed hitting center fielder. Fastball pops the mitt at the knees from Fleming. And he quickly is up on Wade, 0-2. Fleming, quick worker, will attack, especially in on righties. And he's down a little bit off the inside corner below the knees on Wade. Wade 208 over his first 33 games back with Scranton. And the 1-2 from Fleming is massaged up the middle and drops into center field over Alika Williams. Soft single by Wade with one out on the heels of the Alvarez homer.
Yeah, this pitch saws off Wade, but he's strong enough to dump that in between the deep playing outfield and speeds aboard for Scranton.
So one out base runner for the RailRiders after the home run by Alvarez. And here is the Bulls' first look at Max McDowell in this series. He's the DH, right-handed hitter. Fastball sticks on the outer half for strike one. McDowell, 28 years of age. Began the year on the opening day roster here with Scranton. And then got injured in mid-July. Pitch upstairs, 1-1. McDowell 198 with a couple of home runs. He's one of 4 catchers listed on this RailRider roster. He's caught 47 games this year. Haley holds weight on. Fleming exhales. Here's the 1-1. And this one's hit sharply through the shortstop hole on a hop. That's into left field. Rounding second is Wade, and he will hold. So another sharp hit given up by Fleming. 3 consecutive hits in the inning for the RailRiders ahead of their 9-hitter Matt Pito.
Yeah, production at the bottom of the order for the RailRiders, and they're threatening again. One out double play still in order, but nonetheless, Scranton has an offensive rally cooking, no doubt.
Four hits permitted to the first 8 batters of the game against Fleming. So now you get Pita. Open stance, right-handed. Fleming's first pitch is at his ankles inside ball 1. Pita has not played yet in this series against the Bulls either. 221 with 5 home runs, 15 knocked in his 31 games this year with the RailRiders. Edwards plays right up the middle at second base, and there's a strike. 1-1. Pita's been on the shelf a couple of times this year as well. Just about a month and a half for the first half of this season. Just returned back to the RailRiders a couple of weeks ago. There's the 1-1 pitch. Cuts and a miss. Strike 2. And now on a delay down to third goes Tyler Wade. Beating the throw from Pinto. Brady Williams out to argue. Austin Jones making the call from about 25 feet away.
Well, I think it caught Jones by surprise just as it did most everybody else, because Pinto was going up to throw back, and it looked like that ball got down there in time and the tag applied. But with Jones being out of position, he signals safe. All's not lost. Double play is still in order.
Yeah, so after the swing, I mean, Wade was just kind of lying in the weeds with his secondary lead at second base. And when Pinto kind of tossed the ball, not with a lot of pace, back to Fleming, he took, or was about to throw back to Fleming. He took off toward third. Tristan Gray wasn't near the bag, and he trusted his speed to beat the throw. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So it is a steal for Wade, his 11th. And Fleming digs in for the grip. Left-hander's pitch is pulled down the left side, foul. Goes up the bullpen mound and into the left field corner. It's got that base running play by Tyler Wade. That's something you as a base stealer can appreciate.
Sure, you're trying to get something going. You got to get to third base. You put pressure on the defense. It was a heads-up play, but I still think he was out.
1-2, strike 3 call. Well, we know for sure Pita is out. He's now disputing the call from Takahito Matsuda before he walks off. And Fleming captures a very important strikeout.
Now, this is where it becomes dangerous because you have speed at the plate. Quick runner at third. Volpe has the potential to lay a bunt down, and that's how they could drive a run in here with 2 outs. The Bulls need to be aware of that as Tristan Gray is back at third.
All right, 2 outs, runners at the corners. Ball 1 upstairs from Fleming on Volpe. Second time through the order. I mean, you're in fine shape if you get through this inning down 1. Important juncture here for Fleming and the Bulls. Wade at third, McDowell at first. And a 1-0. A little bit wide, ball 2. Now, in last night's come from behind win for the RailRiders, the Bulls twice threw wild pitches with a runner at third to bring runs in.
That'll leave a mark.
Committed 3 errors defensively as well. And it was far from a clean game for the Bulls. And again, they lost by 1. 2-ball count. And the pitch on Volpe is low, ball 3 with Owens next. And now the question for Fleming and Pinto, how do you attack Volpe with a 3-0 count? You have Owens waiting on deck. But how do you get back in this count without exposing yourself here to some damage? Fleming's 3-0. Tried the outside corner, nicked it. Volpe thought he walked.
I'll go right back there again. You got 8 guys helping you. And do some soft contact is the order of business right here in my mind.
3-1. Pinto puts the signs down. And Volpe waits on the pitch. And he got out ahead of it, pops it up. A late run back to the screen by Pinto, and no play. It's on the screen just behind the Durham Bulls on deck circle. And Fleming now has reinserted himself into this count. Full count with 2 outs and 2 on.
Now Volpe new to AAA. The biggest difference between AA and AAA in my mind is the pitching and fastball counts. In AAA, there are more pitchers that will throw off speed and counts like this than any other. And can the AA player make the adjustment? We may see one here.
Let's see what Fleming comes in with. McDowell will be running at first base. Long pause, and now a time called by Volpe. So the pitch clock resets. RailRiders up 1-0 on Alvarez's home run. Looking for more here with 2 outs against Fleming. McDowell breaks. 3-2 is rolled towards short. Cut off nicely by Tristan Gray. And the throw on target. Volpe retired, and that's a heck of a comeback by Josh Fleming. 3-0 down in the count against the top prospect the Yankees have. And got him to roll over a pitch on 3-2 off speed. 1 run, 3 hits, and 2 left. We'll head to the bottom of the second with the RailRiders in front, 1-0. Hey, Bulls fans, a reminder that with every strikeout the Bulls pitching staff records tonight, Chiesi is going to make a donation of $10 to the Children's Flight of Hope. Bottom two from Durham, a 1-0 lead for the RailRiders. It will be Pinto, Gray, and Haley coming up. A nice escape by Josh Fleming through that second inning. After the home run from Alvarez, back-to-back hits, a delayed steal of third by Wade, but a big strikeout of Pita, and then coming back from 3-0 down in the count to retire Volpe. First pitch outside of the shins of Rene Pinto. And let's go back to that Volpe at bat. We were wondering how Fleming and Pinto were going to get back into that count. How did he?
Well, he did by throwing off speed in a 3-2 count. In Double-A, you might get a few people that do it, but not too many. But it's the order of the day in Triple-A. Fleming taking advantage, getting Volpe to roll over that one. Gray makes the play, and he gets out of it.
So a little momentum shift for the Bulls on that escape, despite the RailRiders grabbing the lead. 1-1 pitch on the way to Pinto, and there's a slider missed by Pinto, strike two. Pinto 1 for 4 last night, had a double, averaging 258, 13 home runs. And the pitch home from Spence, half swing. They don't need an appeal. Pinto went too far, and Spence has his third strikeout. So as Tristan Gray presents himself to the left-handed box, let's get to the defense behind Spence. Pita, Wade, and Lamar in the outfield, left to right for the RailRiders. Alvarez plays pin high with the third base bag, but he's about 30 feet off of the line. Volpe up the middle at shortstop. Owings out in the shallow right field grass. And Evans at first as Gray taps one to the backstop. Spence and Rortvedt, the battery. Tristan Gray, league leader with 30 home runs. The average up to 221. He's knocked in 82. Bases empty, one out. And there's the hard curveball missed. By the way, congratulations to Alec Burleson. He got the call up to the St. Louis Cardinals. So now you have the top two hitters in this league, Burleson and Aranda, both in the big leagues. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball, popped him up, left side. And Alvarez wandering toward the third baseline. Back of the dirt makes the play. And Gray retired easily. 5 in a row retired by Spence after the bunt single to begin the game by Brujan.
Well, a steady diet of breaking balls is what's done it for him. He throws this breaking ball. Gray gets underneath it and hits it to the left side of the infield. It's going to be interesting to see how the Bulls react second time through, seeing Mitch Spence.
So 2 outs, nobody on. Haley, the batter. 18 home runs for Haley, 42 knocked in. And smokes one on the ground up the middle, but right behind the bag on the backhand is Owings. Throws out Haley. Hardest hit ball the Bulls have had all night, but right into the shift. Easy play for Owings up the middle. Done with 2. Scranton on top of the Bulls, 1-0. Third inning from Durham. Scranton on top of the Bulls, 1-0. Bulls baseball brought to you by Houston's Peanuts. And that time of year is winding down. Bulls baseball and a bag of Houston's Peanuts right here at the DBAP. Or you can call Houston's Peanuts directly, 800-334-8383. You'll be glad you did. Scranton 1, Durham 0. 2, 3, and 4 hitters against Josh Fleming in the third. And Fleming tried the outside corner and misses with a sinker on Chris Owings. Home run by Alvarez in the second inning. The game's only scoring thus far. And the 1-0 is at the bottom of the knees of Owings. 31-year-old Major League veteran. Was up briefly with the Orioles this year. His 5th Major League team as Owings swings through that pitch. And the Bulls about to get the bullpen going behind Fleming. Again, he's expected to last only 3. 42 pitches through 2. And the pitch from Fleming is knocked down toward that Durham bullpen over Ralph Garza, who is trying to guard. That's the operative word. Joe Hudson, who is loosening it up with Jeremy Walker. That's a tough chance, though, for Garza. That's what he's telling Hudson. I said behind me, way to my left. Here's the 1-2. And this one is sprayed to right to the alley. Cardenas giving chase. This ball will land. He will cut it off. And an aggressive turn, but a hold by Owings. And a single begins the third for Scranton. Well, there's a reason Owens has been around this game for so long with a lot of big league clubs. I mean, he's just a professional hitter. Protects the outside part, expects what he got from Fleming, and hits it hard, and a leadoff single.
Good two-strike approach. Lets that ball get deep, stays inside it, shoots it to right, takes what he's given, and he's aboard with that leadoff single.
Now the catcher, Rortvit, and Fleming pops them at strike one. Lights are on, calm winds. All four flags behind the Blue Monster, pointing straight down. They all are at half mast tonight, by the way, as we pay tribute to our British friends on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II earlier today at the age of 96. 0-2 on Rortvit. Top of the third, nobody out. Safe lead by Owens, and a bouncing ball to the second baseman, fielded on the backhand by Edwards, gives it to Gray, covering, and the Bulls flip a 4-5-3 double play. Niftily turned by Xavier Edwards one more time.
Well, Xavier Edwards got his momentum going. Tristan Gray, who's played plenty of short, he's actually a shortstop playing third, slips right back into his familiar role, coming across the bag, taking the good flip, and then completing this double play. That's just great infield play and a welcome sight for Fleming in this inning with a pitcher's best friend.
All right, 2 outs now. Lamar bounces one right into the left hand of Phillip Evans in the on-deck circle.
But what makes that play is Edwards had his momentum going to second, and he follows his throw, which made a perfect feed to Gray coming across the bag.
A 1 on Lamar. Soft breaking ball in for strike two. The other piece of it, too, is you don't see a lot of ground balls like that into the shift where he turned a double play. And Alika Williams hasn't played a lot on the right side of the infield because he couldn't shift in A-ball with Bowling Green as Fleming bounces one in. And that was a really wise cutoff by Edwards with Williams behind him, because if it gets to Williams, there's no double play.
No, there isn't. You're just going to get one of those outs, and hopefully it's the lead runner. But well done, well played by the Bulls infield. Let's see if Fleming can take advantage and get out of this inning efficiently.
And he just did. Takes care of Ryan Lamar. Pitch a bit off the outside part, but close enough to chase. And Fleming faces the minimum in the third, and that is probably it for him tonight. No runs, 1 hit, none left. After 2.5 innings, Scranton leads the Bulls 1-0. If you'd like to work on the cutting edge of scientific discovery, do so with a degree in pharmaceutical sciences from Campbell University. Whether you're working on a bachelor's or a master's, they offer expert faculty and hands-on experiences with world-class companies. Visit campbell.edu and search pharmaceutical sciences for more details. Patrick Keenis and former New York Yankees outfielder Scott Poe is back with you for the bottom of the third. RailRiders up a run on an Omarno Alvarez home run. And Ruben Cardenas, who homered in the 9th inning last night, leads off the third for the Bulls and takes the ball. He is homer now 4 times in his last 6 games. All have been solo shots. And the 1-0 from Spence. And hits this ball high down the right field line. Lamar straight over toward the Durham bullpen in foul grounds with room, and does make the catch. Nice track by Lamar, and Cardenas the first out.
Lamar covers a lot of ground here, and he's got the wall to contend with as well, but that ball hangs up, and he's able to make the play. Lamar, one of those rare combinations of left-handed throwing, right-handed hitting player. There's 2 other folks that I knew, not personally, not this one. Ricky Henderson did that, but then another good friend of mine, Dave McCarty, used to do that too. He was a former first-round pick of the Giants. We played together in Kansas City. He had some pop.
Why is that such an odd combination?
Well, it's an odd combination because it's cross-eye dominance. A lot of players that throw left-handed don't have that left-eye dominance because you want your left eye closest to the pitcher when you hit, but that's what happens.
Williams cuts on that 0-1, knocks it foul to the right.
And it's a rarity, number one, because there are fewer left-handed throwers than there are right-handed in the world. And cross-eye dominance is unusual, but I was one of those folks, but in reverse. because I'm right eye dominant. I wanted my right eye closest to the pitcher. I was most comfortable as a kid, and I can remember as a 4-year-old.
Off speed down 1-2.
Hitting a tennis ball in the backyard with my dad. And he wanted me to go, okay, you hit one there, turn it around. And I shook my head and I said, no.
Okay.
I said, throw another one. And I hit it again. He said, well, you can see to hit it. I'm not going to mess with it. And they let me hit left-handed the rest of my life.
There's the 1-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. Check swing. The appeal is accepted. And Alika Williams fans. First time through the order. But let's now 4 punch-outs for Spence.
Let's get back to Lamar. That's unusual, left-handed, right-handed, but he's been an accomplished player for so long. And I want to stand corrected. He did not play with Jake at Michigan. Jake Cronenworth, that is. As we get a look at another great breaking ball from Mitch Spence, which has really been baffling to this Bulls lineup so far. Second time through. Let's see if the Bulls can adjust.
This is where the rubber will meet the road for the Bulls. Here's Brujan, the only Bull to reach so far. Did so on a bunt in the first inning. And taps that one off the fingertips foul.
And that pitch has given the Bulls lefties trouble because it's a cutter. It breaks the last minute and gets in on the hands. And that's why Brujan fouls this one off and straight down.
Scranton 1, Durham nothing, third inning. Walker finishing up in the bullpen for Durham. He will replace Fleming. And a ground ball foul.
Again, this ties up Brujan's hands. It's a cutter. And he sees it, he's going to go after it, and then he sees that ball, and he can't make that adjustment at the last minute.
All right, what is the adjustment on a cutter now that they've seen it once?
Well, you've got to hit the inside half. You've got to find a way to get inside that, and you got to cheat more, meaning adjust your hands more to get inside that ball to make solid contact, and take it back through the middle. Don't try to pull it.
Here's the 0-2. And Brujan misses 95, firmest pitch of the night we've seen from Spence. And Spence has retired 9 straight since Brujan's bunt hit. 5 of them on strikeouts. He's rolling. We'll head to the 4th inning. RailRiders up on Durham 1-0. Fourth inning from Durham. RailRiders on the strength of a home run by Armando Alvarez. Up 1-0 on the Bulls. And Jeremy Walker is in, replacing Josh Fleming. Fleming stretched out to 3 innings, 54 pitches tonight. 5 hits, worked around some traffic, only allowed the solo home run, struck out 4 and no walks. So now is where things get a little dicey for Brady Williams. He doesn't have a whole lot of margin on the edges tonight in terms of coverage from his relievers. He knew he was going to need 6 innings, and Jeremy Walker is the first reliever in, and he powers across the strike against Phillip Evans. Walker threw on Labor Day in the series opener. Couple of innings on 35 pitches, did allow 1 run to Scranton. And a backup breaking ball popped up on the right side of the infield. Retreating is Jim Haley, makes the catch about 2/3 of the way back in the dirt. And Walker has the first out of the 4th.
This is a breaking ball that's lifted into the air by Evans. Easy play for Haley at first. A good start to the inning for Jeremy Walker.
Now Walker on for the 9th time in a Bulls uniform. By the way, one more time in their Tampa Bay Devil Ray throwback black jerseys. Probably the sharpest alternate jersey that the Bulls have worn, in my opinion. And they've had great success in these as well. I think they've only lost one time wearing these.
That would be correct.
Walker, an 8.68 earned run average in his time with the Bulls. 28 games at AAA Sacramento for the Giants this year. And the 1-0 lying the other way and a low skidding hop into right field. And Alvarez is now 2 for 2. The home run against Fleming, and now a single the other way against Walker.
Well, Alvarez really worked this ball to the other side. He got a pitch away, but he kept his hands inside, let that ball get deep, and hammers this as hard as you can hit a ball the other way against the shift, and has that base hit to go with that home run.
And now the umpires all raise their hands. Jose Navas at first base, Austin Jones on the second base grass. They're still trying to collect all the gear that Armando Alvarez has left with his first base coach. Raul Dominguez had his hands full, still does. And Walker's opening pitch hit sharply up the middle. This could be 2. Fielded by Williams. Flip to Edwards. A leaping one-hop relay. Oh, yes! What a finish by Xavier Edwards. Sprinting across second base toward the left field line. Springing into the air off a trampoline. And one-hopping the throw to Jim Haley. Bulls turn the 2 and are through the inning. Thing of beauty. by Edwards. Middle of 4, 1-0 Scranton. Emerge Ortho has been the team physicians for the Bulls since 1980. 13 orthopedic urgent cares scattered across the triangle. You can reserve your urgent care spot online right now at their website, emergeortho.com. Well, who is this guy, Xavier Edwards, who has suddenly turned into an astonishingly good infielder? I mean, he has grown by leaps and bounds in the last couple of months, and he lines one up the middle, and Volpe crouches down, makes a backhand catch, couple of feet off the dirt, 1 pitch and 1 out.
He hits this hard into the shift, but what made that double play, Edwards was going to second at a high rate of speed, and what he did is he used his athleticism to use second base as something to slow him down, because he hit the bag, jumped off it, and in midair made an unbelievable throw. It showed his great athletic ability, but he used the base as a partial air brake, if you will, to make that play.
Curveball snatches the inside corner at the knees of Josh Lowe. Well, some days the topics of conversation, the Brady Williams show, are swings and misses for that night's game. We try to anticipate. We try to review things that have really caught our eyes. And one of the main topics in the pregame show today was the defense and the kind of defensive explosion we've seen from Xavier Edwards the last couple of weeks. He made 2 tremendous plays at third base last night. And, you know, Brady was gushing on his defense. Big league plays down at third base, backing up on a ball that 2 hopped high to the backhand, made the throw, 1 throw to second, and he backs it up again with 2 brilliant plays tonight.
But they're the plays that stand out in a series like this. And remember that we were talking about defensive plays against Nashville, a very good team that came through, and the Bulls take the series because they stopped the Nashville offense with good defense. I remember Tristan Gray made some unbelievable plays at third that saved games. Edwards is doing the same, and that's the kind of baseball you have to play now on this run, potentially, to the playoffs.
2-2 counts on Josh Lowe. 10 in a row retired by Spence. And into the wind, the righty's pitch, and Lowe fights off a fastball that was up. But it's fun to see. I mean, you get now into the home stretch inside 3 weeks for the end of the regular season. My wife is thrilled about that statement. But these teams want to play in Vegas.
Yep.
They want to get to Vegas. Now, the Bulls have the upper hand right now, but it's not going to be an easy road to get there. 2-2, breaking ball, strikes out Josh Lowe. Down on that same curveball, a little bit higher this time with 2 strikes than the punch out in the first inning. But Spence has now retired 11 straight, 6 on strikeouts. And Scott, how do the Bulls break up the momentum?
Well, right on left, he's going with the put-away pitch. That 12-6 breaker, Lowe swings over the top of it for the second time. The best way to hit a good breaking ball, hit the fastball that comes before it. And the Bulls have to square up something early in the count.
And here's a curveball, opening pitch missed by Raley. So mixing things up now is Spence. And he is in great rhythm. Scranton 1, Durham 0, 4th inning. The kick and the pitch from Spence. Curveball again, and Raley goes too far. The pitch wound up in the dirt. And now Raley, after back-to-back curveballs, in an 0-2 valley here. And only a couple of hard hit balls against Spence so far. They've both been turned into outs. 0-2. And that curveball bounced in front of home, and Raley still almost went after it.
Well, that's just good pitching. You see Raley's offering at that curveball. He hasn't been able to differentiate it, and he's in swing mode. Throw another one to see if he'll do the same, and he nearly did.
Outfield very shallow for Raley all around. I mean, Pete is playing like my grandmother's in the batter's box here. Here's the 1-2. And this one's hit on the ground to the right side. Cutting it off is Volpe. The shortstop moves in front of Owens as he should. Short throw to first base, retires Raley. And again, the Bulls go 3 up and out against the Cary, North Carolina native Mitch Spence. 4 innings in the books. RailRiders up on Durham, 1-0. Oh, just a beautiful night in Durham as we reach the 5th inning. Twilight is almost here. Scranton with a 1-0 lead on first place Durham. And Jeremy Walker gets his second inning behind Josh Fleming. But Joe Hudson is already down in the Durham pen. He's about to get somebody loose. McDowell, Pita, and Volpe due up for Scranton in the fifth. And Walker out of the stretch. First pitch home, over but low, ball one. We talked about Spence in his homecoming. Carey is, what, about 18, 19 miles from where we are right now?
That would be
right outside of Raleigh, but
correct.
Here from Durham, a couple of dozen miles at the most. If I'm driving, taking wrong turns, my GPS goes down. 1 ball, 1 strike. But for Jeremy Walker, he grew up in North Carolina, a little bit west of Winston-Salem. There's the 1-1 outside and a breaking ball. They appeal the check swing, and McDowell did not swing. I talked with Walker when the Bulls were out in Charlotte last week, and he really considers the DBAP and Truist Park kind of home parks for him. Loves pitching in both of those parks. Strike taken to the knees. He grew up in Advance, North Carolina. Got to the big leagues a couple of years ago. He was acquired by the Rays in the Ford Proctor trade the day before the All-Star break hit. Here's the 2-2, and this one is served out to left center field. Cutting across is Brujan, calling Rayleigh off of the ball. Makes the catch in the alley. And McDowell retired to open the fifth inning.
Well, speed in the outfield makes this play. The ball hung up in the air long enough for Brujan to run underneath. That leadoff batter retired in this inning for the Bulls.
And what's interesting about guys like Jeremy Walker, you go back a month, maybe even a little bit less. And first pitch driven to center field. Easy play again for Brujan. Sidling back into his left for the grab. Peter retired. And there are 2 outs on 5 pitches in this inning for Walker. But there was a time where Brady Williams had so many pitchers, not only on his active roster, but you had 4 major league rehabbers with Chirinos, McKay, Shagwa, and Nick Anderson, that Jeremy Walker and a couple of others were throwing live BP at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the Bulls were in Norfolk, because Brady had basically intimated to them, there's no room for you to throw right now. There are no available innings, but we want to keep you sharp because at some point it's going to change. Volpe looks at a breaking pitch on the inside corner, and man, how fast that has changed now for Brady Williams, because now they need arms. I mean, they need guys to be stretched out maybe a little bit beyond their comfort zone because there are just so few available arms right now. Breaking ball wide, 2-1 to Volpe.
Yeah, it was an embarrassment of riches a few weeks ago, but now the story has shifted, and those arms are going to be relied on in these last few games on the playoff run. This is one of those nights where they're desperately needed.
And Walker has given the Bulls 5 outs so far. Hangs a breaking pitch. It's swatted out of play to the right side. Now the Bulls should get, underline or italicized, whichever your choice is, should. Jimmy Yacobonis back and Ralph Garza back, maybe as early as tomorrow. Yacobonis dealing with a blister issue. Garza dealing with a little bit of a shoulder issue from a throw he made in Charlotte. 2-2 is outside into the dirt ball 3.
Yeah,
but tonight things are tight.
Well, they are tight, and what complicates things is, and what has put the strain on this team is the Rays take priority, and they're in the middle of a dogfight with the Yankees right now. The Yankees have who they're going to have, I think, off the Scranton roster. Miguel Andujar's up. He was the 29th man, I believe, in the doubleheader they had against the Twins.
3-2, hit well, right center field. Chasing back is Cardenas. This ball has a chance, and it's gone. 6 rows deep to the opposite field by the 21-year-old future star of the Yankees. First AAA home run for Anthony Volpe, his 19th overall, and the RailRiders have a 2-0 lead in the fifth.
Well, no doubter the other way. He gets a ball up in the zone. It's a fastball, but what he does is he goes with it. That's about bell tie. Gets the full extension. This ball carries on out. And he has that second run for Scranton.
And Walker nails the outside corner on Owens.
And when I said the Yankees have who they need for right now, that kid has a bright future for them. Where, I don't know where he plays up there, but he keeps swinging like that, and he's going to be there for a while.
Strike 2 now, Owens. He's hitting his all 6 AAA games so far. He's flashed the power in AA. Great speed, good base runner, excellent defender. This ball is just kind of punched into shallow right center. That's going to fall in. Owens has his second hit. It's a 2-out single after the home run from Volpe. And Brady Williams is on the way, and that's going to do it for Jeremy Walker. And he smacks the inside of his dark glove in disgust. So Rortvedt will be the hitter. And the Bulls will go to the bullpen, and Dalton Moats is coming on for the second straight night. So Walker is done. Inning in 2/3, and now a 2-0 lead for Scranton. Rortvedt will come up, left on left against Dalton Moats when we return. Moats is coming in back-to-back days. Through a clean 6th inning last night, did retire Ben Rortvedt, the man he's going to face here in the 5th. Normally when Brady Williams goes back-to-back with relievers, it's this kind of situation. Get the final out of an inning call today. That's probably not the case tonight with Moats. He's likely going to be needed in the 6th as well. So Moats is on for the 44th time. The earned run average 306. He will inherit Owens at first and 2 outs. And Scranton with a pair of solo home runs tonight. That is the lead over the Bulls. Owens at first, and Moats offering is missed by Rortvedt, a breaking ball. Bulls trail 2-0 in the 5th. Haley holds on. Owens, not a big lead. And a breaking ball, cut on and miss, not close to the zone. Strike 2 on Rortvedt. Rortvedt, born in Madison, Wisconsin, out of Verona High in Wisconsin. Second round pick. Had he not signed, guess where he was going to play college ball? Who Pig Suey?
He was going to be a Razorback.
He's going to be a Razorback. Strike 3 is swinging. Moats on 3 pitches, fans Rortvedt. 5th inning is over. Solo home run by Volpe doubles the lead after 4.5 innings. Scranton 2, Durham nothing. Couple of solo home runs tonight for Scranton, and it's a 2-0 game into the bottom of the 5th from Durham. RailRiders with a win would claw to within 2.5 of first place Durham. And right now, the way that Mitch Spence is pitching, they may not need any more offense behind him. He's been brilliant through this first 4 innings. 46 pitches is all. He's retired 12 straight. Only base runner was a bunt single by Vidal Brujan in the second pitch he threw tonight. So it's Pinto to try and break things up here for the Bulls. Off speed in the dirt on the first offering. Pinto, Gray, and Haley in the Bulls' 5th inning. Pinto, one of the 6 strikeout victims thus far for Spence. And the 1-0 front door breaking ball. Angel Perdomo getting loose behind Dalton Moats. So it does look like Moats will face just one hitter tonight. The 1-1 on the way from Spence. Just a little wide. 2-1 count. Just a perfect night. And you know what, Scott? I forgot. The NFL season starts in like a half hour.
Can you believe it?
Pitch outside. The minor league season should be over.
It should be. In
We've
years
got 3
past.
more weeks left.
Well, it wasn't over last year because this was the extended part of the season at that time, wasn't it? The extra games?
Correct. Yeah, the games that they just kept adding on. We're going to play a few more. We got one more series. Ground ball slapped the other way. That'll get through. And there's the Bulls' second hit of the game. Pinto, a flatliner through the second base area. On a 3-1 pitch, Owens was shading a bit up the middle. Bulls will take it.
The shift was on, and Pinto goes with this pitch, driving it through that hole, and the Bulls are a bloop and a blast away from tying this game. If that's the bloop, the right man's at the plate for the blast.
And here's the guy who leads the league in blasts. Tristan Gray with 30 home runs. Gray popped out his first time up. And the pitch off the thumbs, hit foul, strike one.
That cutter has been an extremely effective pitch for Spence, and this one gets in on Gray, can't get extended.
One strike count on Gray. And the pitch. Cuts and a miss, strike two. Two 2-0 lead for Scranton in the bottom of the fifth. Pinto at first. Here's the pitch. And Gray will tap one foul of the first baseline. Talked a little bit about this last night when J.J. Cooper was with us, but the Bulls have actually put together a grid of the all-time single-season home run leaders. Gray has 30. The all-time record is set by Tom Wolfe back in 1930 with the Durham Bulls when he had 39. And it did a little digging on that team and came up with something I didn't know about Major League Baseball. Here's the 0-2. That's high. Now, Tom was a player for the Bulls in 1930, but his manager was a player manager named George Whited. I didn't know anything about George. It turns out he played 15, 18 years in Major League Baseball. Played for several teams, the Boston Braves, Philadelphia, several others. And this one is yanked down the right side off the screen and almost into the glove of Perdomo in the bullpen. But he also played for the Brooklyn Major League team in 1922. And so I'm just digging through to make sure that I have the right nicknames of the teams, figuring this is the Brooklyn Dodgers. It is the Brooklyn Robins.
How about that?
I had no idea Brooklyn ever had a Major League team nicknamed the Robins. But in 1922 they were. Here's the 1-2, way wide. As you can tell, I was really bored yesterday with a lot of free time.
No, but that's a fascinating snippet.
And they didn't change the nicknames back then to sell more merchandise.
No, they didn't.
They do it now. Seemed like it was taking place every year for about 15 years. In the late 90s, early 2000s. 2-2 inside, and Tristan Gray has worked the first full count of the night against Spence. And perhaps the Bulls are gaining a little bit of leverage as they see Spence for the second time. And this is a key juncture for Spence. If Gray can get on, the Bulls can really ratchet up the pressure. Pinto at first, and a 3-2 pitch is lined hard to left. Pita going back. It's over his head and off the bottom of the wall. Pita will field. He's pump fakes and now throws to the infield. Pinto to third. Gray into second base with a standing double. And ratchet up the pressure the Bulls have just done.
Well, an outstanding job by Tristan Gray to work to that full count. And he got a pitch he could handle. It was a pitch out over the plate. It looked to be the fastball. He gets that full extension, drives it off the base of the Blue Monster, and has that double to set up an excellent scoring opportunity, and the first one for the Bulls in this ball game.
All right, so that's not the blast, but it's a half blast.
It's effective nonetheless, and this is the first really trouble that Spence has gotten into tonight. He's been brilliant up to this point.
Tying runs in scoring position, nobody out. Infield back, pitch to Haley, a high chopper towards short. Gray trying to advance, dodges the tag. The throw to first gets Haley as Pinto scores. 2-1 game in the bottom of the fifth. Risky base running by Tristan Gray, but he swerved inside the baseline, avoided the glove of Alvarez, and now the tying run is at third with one out.
Well, it's a productive out for the Bulls and a great read by Gray as he saw that ball hit high, and he knows, as being a fielder that plays on the left side of the infield, that your momentum's going to take you to the ball, and it's going to be hard to catch that ball and worry about him. As a result, he gets to third. Scranton's got to bring their infield in to try to prevent this tying run from scoring.
All right, now it's Cardenas. Bulls trail 2-1. Spence's delivery right down the heart, strike one. And again, tough to tell from our angle here. Again, the broadcast booth is 3/4 of the way down the first base line. As Tristan Gray is running from second to third, just how close or not close that was. But he did well to avoid contact as Cardenas got a pitch up in the zone and swats it away foul.
When you're a runner at second, you're looking for a downward angle, meaning that ball being hit into the ground, and then you have another barometer whether that ball's to your left or right. And that determines whether you can get to third. Now, that ball was in front of Gray. By rights, he shouldn't be advancing, but because he saw the trajectory, he got a great jump and made the play and gets to third.
Right now, a fly ball from Cardenas should tie the game, but he's in an 0-2 hole against Spence. Out of the stretch, the pitch bounced in. A wonderful backhand pick by Rortvedt, and that pitch was 4 feet in front of him. Saves the lead.
And it is a well-executed short hop backhand, which is the direct opposite of the way catchers are traditionally taught. That's to get the glove down, get your equipment in front. He swiped at it, and he was able to make the play as he was on one knee with a runner at third.
1-2 count. Gray at third. He'll be off on contact. The pitch. Strike out of Cardenas. Got him reaching for a slider. Tag applied by Rortvedt. Now how big is that pick Rortvedt just made? Followed up with a punch out by Spence. And that will leave it in the lap of Alika Williams, who just got the AAA up from high A about a week ago. Infield now recedes to normal depth. 2 on the left, 2 on the right. And Williams waits. First pitch from Spence. Slider a little bit wide. Second and third, nobody out. You don't want to leave one of these runs stranded at third base. Spence, a direct look at Gray, and a fastball buries the outside third at 94 miles an hour. Perdomo finishing up in the Durham bullpen. He'll get the 6th. 1-1, high set Spence. The pitch. Check swing, pitch down, they appeal. And he did not go. Ball 2, that was close.
Real close.
Owens playing a bit up the middle from second base. A 2-1 count on Alika Williams, trying to tie the game with 2 outs. Spence's delivery grounded the other way, and it's fair right over the bag. This will tie the score. The ball rolls over the bullpen mound. Lamar's run a second high, offline, and Alika Williams ties the game, and there's his first AAA RBI of the year. Right down the line, barely over the bag.
A clutch 2-out base hit from Alika Williams as this ball is sprayed to right. Jose Navas straddling the line, had to jump out of the way. He sees that go over the bag, calls it a fair ball as it was, and it becomes a huge clutch hit to tie this ball game up for the Bulls here in the 5th.
That was not where Williams was intending to hit that ball, but no matter. And credit the ups of Jose Navas. A little lighter on his feet after a big league appearance yesterday. Game tied. High chop off the plate. Tough play. Waiting on it. Spence throws to first, and it is in time. Oh, it looked like Evans may have left the bag. Brujan out on a bang play at first. Inning is over. Williams would have scored if that's a safe call at first base. But the Bulls tie things up. 2-2. A 2-out RBI double by Williams draws the Bulls level. Ahead of the 6th from Durham, tied 2-2. Couple of runs in the bottom of the 5th inning for the Bulls to tie the game. And as we come back, Brady Williams is on the field talking with the first base umpire, Jose Navas. And he's walking down into the dugout. He came out late during that changeover with his lineup card in hand. It makes you wonder, was he thrown out? I didn't see anybody come out and argue. But on the TV side, we're going to come back after this Perdomo first pitch. And no, Brady is still in his spot, so everything's fine. But we're going to come back and take a couple of closer looks at that play at first base. Strike one on Lamar. And the question is, did the foot of Phillip Evans at first base stay on the bag on that throw to first base to retire Vidal Brujan?
I don't think so. I do not think so. That continues the inning, and potentially a run scores on that play. If it's ruled safe at first, it was not to be. Game tied, we move on.
All right, here's Perdomo, 1-1 count, gets a fastball past Ryan Lamar. So the Bulls were nearly turned away with only one run scoring. Williams gets the double right over the first base bag the other way. And then a somewhat controversial call at first base ends the inning. Fastball down and in, 2-2. There wasn't a huge protest by Brujan. Reynaldo Ruiz, first base coach, had his arms out. I think he had the best next best look at it. And to me, real-time, naked eye, it looked like the right foot rocked off the bag by Evans, but tough to tell as this pitch is fouled off by Lamar to the screen. But then Brady Williams came out very, very late during that changeover and went toward Jose Navas, who was the man on the call. And they engaged in a conversation. Brady went back into the dugout. He was not thrown out, but he had a serious question for Navas. Here's the 2-2, and it's poked out of play. I know there's not a monitor down in the Durham dugout, so I don't know if it would have been a quick turnaround of somebody saying, yeah, he definitely came off the bag. I doubt that's what it was, but maybe Brady just wanted one last clarification from Navas. Two-two is hit off the fist to shallow center, hustling in Brujan, and it will land in front of him, and Brujan barehands the hop in center field. Base hit for Lamar to begin the sixth inning in a 2-2 game. Well, Angel Perdomo, he has been absolutely awesome for the Bulls over the last few weeks as they begin to stretch out this lefty. His last 5 games, he's gone at least 2 innings. He had been a single-inning guy after the Rays had claimed him on waivers from the Brewers back in late July. But in his last 5 games, he's gone a total of 10 2/3 scoreless innings. Little flare over Haley down the right field line. Trouble if fair, and it is by inches. Rolls over the mound. Lamar on his way to third, and that parachutes inside the chalk down the right field line. Base hit for Evans, and now first and third, trouble with nobody out for Perdomo.
Parachute is the operative word here. This ball just dumped right on the line where nobody's playing. That allows Lamar to get to third, first and third, nobody out. And a productive bottom of the order scheduled to come to the plate.
And Armando Alvarez, he has had a game for Scranton. Home run to center that came against Fleming. Hard single to right that came against Walker in the 4th. And the Bulls will concede the run up the middle, double play depth behind Perdomo. And strike one from Alvarez. 92 on that pitch from Perdomo. Now Perdomo, he's kind of scaled back the fastball from the mid to upper 90s. Now sitting kind of 93, 94, still with that extension from his long frame. And that slider that has really enhanced his command. And that pitch downstairs, 1-1. Did talk with Rays GM Peter Bendix about something you and I had chatted about a few weeks ago.
Oh, I'm anxious to hear this.
Well, when Perdomo was taken off the roster by Tampa Bay a couple of days before the trading deadline, he said that was kind of part of our plan. We thought we'd be able to sneak him through. Fly ball to right, pushing Cardenas back and a bit toward the corner. Ready to tag is Lamar. The catch is made. The throw is eased towards second. And Scranton reclaims the lead as Alvarez hits a sac fly to deep right, and it's 3-2, RailRiders in the 6th.
Well, productive out for the RailRiders as Alvarez lifts this deep to right field. And it's deep enough to score Lamar. RailRiders take the lead.
It's 44 runs batted in for Alvarez. And that'll bring up Tyler Wade. Smart play by Cardenas, who had a couple of throwing errors last night for the Bulls in left field. You're conceding that run. You're making sure that Phillip Evans doesn't tag and move in his scoring position. Keeps the double play in order as well. Strike one on Wade. But yeah, Bendix basically admitted that we thought with all the teams trying to set their rosters and have trade discussions that he'd get a little bit lost in the shuffle and clear. And that's exactly what happened. Strike on the inner third above the knees, 0-2 on Wade. Rays are off tonight, and they begin a huge series at Yankee Stadium tomorrow. The new dad, Drew Rasmussen, starts for the Rays. 0-2 is low. And Wander Franco very likely will be activated by the Rays. He is no longer with the Bulls. Had his full complement of at-bats last night. 3 hits, and meeting the team up in New York. 1-2 on Wade. And Perdomo's delivery gets the outside corner. Rung up by Matsuda. Wade unconvinced. Second out of the 6th.
Well, a good fastball buried on the outside corner by Perdomo. Wade could not pull the trigger, and that crossfire action freezes him as it's a knee-high pitch. It's called for the 3rd strike.
So Evans at first base, now Max McDowell. He's 1 of 2, and he takes strike 1 from Perdomo. By the way, when the Bulls finished up that series in Charlotte on Sunday, Wander Franco bought the post-game meal for the team, found one of the greatest steakhouses in Charlotte, and had, I think, 45, 55 steaks delivered to the clubhouse as this ball is popped up. Foul grounds. Gray over by the tarp. Might have room, but no. They had a few extra, so I was able to grab one on my drive back home.
Nice.
Scott, I'm telling you, these steaks were the size of a medium-sized pizza.
Oh, really?
They were enormous. And artist palettes, they were that big and thick.
Mm-hmm. So you had 3 meals.
0-2 is Anthony strike 3. They were so big, though, that as I'm eating this steak on the way home, I'm eating it with my hands because a plastic fork couldn't hold it. They were so large. Scranton takes the lead on a sac fly by Alvarez. Middle of 6. RailRiders 3, Bulls 2. Scranton 3, Durham 2. Bottom of the 6th inning. The RailRiders have out-hit the Bulls by a 10-4 margin, but only lead by 1. It'll be Edwards, Lowe, and Rayleigh due up. Mitch Spence stays on, 6th inning of work. He's thrown only 69 pitches through 5. But the Bulls began to solve the conundrum of Spence in that 5th inning. Edwards batting left-handed, takes inside and a bit low, ball 1. 7 strikeouts, no walks for Spence so far tonight. He's only gone to 2 3-ball counts all game. Alvarez on the apron of the grass at third base, trying to take a bunt away from Edwards. And it's a curveball arcing the other way over the Scranton dugout and onto the roof. I was literally eating that steak with both hands as I was driving back from Charlotte that night. Thank you, Wander, by the way. And thank you to the rest of the Bulls teammates for not taking seconds. Here's the 1-1 from Spence. Line over his back, and 1 hops to Volpe right behind second base. It's the second time Edwards has hit a ball right on the nose in the path of the shortstop Volpe. Edwards 0 for 3, and now Josh Lowe, who has fanned twice on Spence curveballs tonight. Now, you never were out on a major league rehab.
No, I would have never come back. They would have said, you can just stay there.
Off speed outside, ball 1. But surely you remember some of the overly generous meals or other things provided by big leaguers who were on rehabs, right?
Oh, I certainly do.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Curveball low.
Because if you don't have a glimpse of that, what that's like, and then you get a spread at the end of the game from a rehabbing major leaguer, which is the custom. I mean, it's like Christmas.
Yeah. And if word gets back to your big league teammates that you didn't take care of the guys in the minors when you were down there, it's painful. Ball 3, a little tight.
And your reputation is very tarnished for the players that you just played with, too.
That's right. Gum?
No, it was, and I've seen that happen, too. But I'm not going to name names.
3-0 wide and the pitch from Spence. Strike 1. I will tell you one fun story about that. When I was back at AA with the Marlins, with the Carolina Mudcats, Josh Johnson had just gone up to the Marlins, and still before all the different arm and elbow injuries that he suffered, he was down in big league rehab, went back to the big league team as Lowe takes inside, and the tying run is on with 1 out in the 6th. The Mudcats were taking a trip out to Sevierville to take on the Tennessee Smokies. Johnson's rehab ended the final game of the homestand, and he was back down in Miami. And at Five County Stadium in the home clubhouse, they just had like a standard like 27-inch TV anchored up in the upper corner of the lounge area, which was a pretty small area anyway. When the team came back from that road trip from playing the Smokies, there was like a huge flat screen TV hanging on the wall. And again, this is 15 years ago, before flat screens were in everybody's house. They were pricey items then. Came back, TV was on. It was 2 in the morning when the bus arrived, and I mean, just blown away by the generosity of Josh Johnson. Meeting on the mound, action begins in the bullpen for Scranton with 1 out in the 6th inning. And Spence is going to stay in. Graham Johnson, pitching coach, heads back to the dugout. Left-hander getting loose behind Spence. But that TV got some utility over the next several years.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it wasn't a steak that, is through your system in 8 hours.
That you're holding with your bare hands, eating on the road like a real man.
I mean, I hate to be the truckers passing me on the road, coming home, looking down.
They're jealous.
What is he
They're
eating?
jealous.
Is that a steak?
That's a pro move. Dude's got a steak. He's using his hands.
How big was that cow? Said that like Jim Gaffney. Pop up on a bunt, trouble, and it will be caught by Spence. He will throw to first base and doubles up Josh Lowe. Can you believe that? Rayleigh trying to bunt for a hit. He popped it up. Spence athletically made a backhand catch on the third base line, twisted and threw out Josh Lowe trying to get back to first base. And a cardinal sin for the Bulls. Inning is over. Bulls don't score, and they still trail by a run. After 6, Scranton 3, Durham 2. Third game of the series, Bulls and RailRiders hits the 7th inning. Scranton up a run 3-2. Sacrifice fly by Armando Alvarez broke the tie. Bulls had a little something brewing in the bottom of the 6th, but Rayleigh couldn't get the bunt down, and Josh Lowe somehow got doubled off of first base on a bunt that was caught by the pitcher. So it's 3-2. Perdomo gets his 2nd inning, and Matt Pita looks at ball 1. Pita's 0 for 2, and Perdomo, a high fastball chased, ball and a strike. Well, you love the idea by Rayleigh right there. If he can get the bunt down, the Bulls really have something kicking up.
Yeah, he's walking to first if that ball's on the ground with the shift that the RailRiders had on. But unfortunately for the Bulls, the athleticism of Mitch Spence took over. He was able to run that ball down as it was popped up, flips and throws to first to double off Lowe to get out of a jam that was to be and potentially tying this game, if not more, for the Bulls.
Yeah, and that's probably the Bulls' last look at Spence tonight. Slider runs it a 1-2 now. And Perdomo in the wide, and the big lefty's pitch strikes him out. Letter high fastball. And Pita 0 for 3. Third straight strikeout by Perdomo.
Well, it's an elevated fastball from Perdomo. He's got that sneaky fastball that has the high spin rate and good carry through the zone. This elevated, hard to catch up to that one. And a good put-away pitch for the Bulls left-hander.
And Scranton gets that left-hander throwing again. Here's Volpe. Swallows a fastball from Perdomo, foul. Bulls will see a familiar guy, Matt Crook. He will go tomorrow. Brady Williams has managed him for a few years. Crook, one of the top strikeout pitchers in the league. As a matter of fact, he is the top strikeout pitcher in the league as of today. This one's sailed out to center field with some legs. Brujan angling back at the warning track to the wall, jumps up. It's off of his glove, and it is over the wall. A home run to left center for Volpe, his second of the night. And the RailRiders take a 4-2 lead in the 7th.
Well, the first was to right center. This is to left center. It's a fastball in. Volpe gets that extension. This ball carries on out. Great effort by Brujan, but I think it hit off the top of the wall. Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Excellent effort by Brujan. And Brujan still kind of hunched over in center field, hands on his knees. Umpires see that. They want to make sure he's fine. So it's a 4-2 lead for Scranton, second 2-run lead of the night. And a fastball clips the outside against Owens. I think Brujan is replaying that effort in his head again. Empty cuts on a fastball. He had it well timed. The ball just landed over his glove. And for a jumping backhand snatch on that left center field wall. Pitch runs inside, ball and 2 strikes. And how about Volpe, man? He's been at AAA for a week. He's batting .458. He's just hit his first 2 AAA home runs tonight. He is screaming for a September call-up for the Yankees. Pitch fouled off. That is 20 home runs now this season for Volpe. One out, none on. Perdomo missing down with a slider. RailRiders with a win would get to within 2.5 with 18 to go, and still 3 more games left in this head-to-head series. 2-2 is wide, ball 3. Jacksonville and Lehigh Valley began the night 4.5 back. Lehigh Valley won the opener of its doubleheader 5-1. They trail in game 2, 1-0 in the 3rd. Ground ball pulled toward the shortstop pole. Sliding backhand, Williams quickly to his feet, and Haley, though, can't handle the short hop throw. Owens will reach. That'll be a single on the infield for Owens. Terrific stop by Williams, quickly jumping to his feet. And Haley is normally golden on those short hops.
Well, a great effort by Williams as he was going to his left. Makes the play, and if Haley can dig this out, it's going to be a highlight play. But unfortunately, for the Bulls, the scoop wasn't made. A runner aboard with 1 out, and the 12th hit of the night for the RailRiders.
And now Ben Rortman. First inning double against Fleming, 1 for 3. And pops up an inside fastball. This might spin back for Pinto. He's right by the screen, but it catches the angled screen on the way down. Well, this is about the extent of the deficit the Bulls can afford now. 2 runs down in the 7th inning. And as I look into the Bulls dugout, I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen Brady Williams standing where he is right now. He's normally tucked in that near corner and almost never moves. As Perdomo throws across, he is shoulder to shoulder right now with Brian Reed, trying to figure out the puzzle of the Bulls pitching. And he is just now walking back to his catbird seat. And again, that's how thin the Bulls are. Runner breaks. Perdomo's pitch is strike. Pinto's throw is not. It is way off target. Stretching stop by Alika Williams as that throw is tailing toward right center. And Owens an easy steal of second.
Yeah, Pinto's front shoulder flies open, hence the ball riding towards the right field side.
RailRiders up 4-2 in the 7th inning. And Perdomo home on 0-2, and that handcuff Pinto is a cross up. It goes off the wrist of his mitts and ricochets toward the Scranton dugout. And man, Perdomo just about broke the wrist of Rene Pinto on that pitch.
Yeah, somebody forgot there was a runner on second and the signs change.
I mean, Pinto, he is lucky he is not injured on that. And he is getting on Perdomo.
Which tells me I know who missed the sign.
I mean, that was a fastball, and Pinto was expecting something far softer. That'll be a wild pitch charge against Perdomo.
So in 2 pitches, the Bulls go from playing a double play to having to bring the infield in.
1 out, and here's the 1-2. Breaking ball, knocked on a line on the right side. That is fair. Into the corner it goes. It's a 5-2 game as Owen scores. And Rortvedt into second base with his second double of the night. And the RailRiders beginning to stretch this one away. 5-2 in the 7th inning. And that was just a flat slider from Perdomo that stayed in on the lefty. And just a rope inside the right field line.
Yeah, Rortvedt stays in on this one, the front shoulder right to the ball, and gets that ball down and in. It's a slider. He pulls it down the right field line, and that's a big insurance run for Scranton. They're not done yet.
Yep, and here's Lamar. 13 hits now for Scranton, only 4 tonight for the Bulls. And Perdomo down and in, ball 1. Perdomo's now thrown 35 pitches. And the Bulls looking down into the bullpen. Nobody throwing yet. Brian Reith is trying to make some eye contact from the Bulls dugout. This one's popped up behind home. Mask off again. Pinto carries it back to the brick half wall. No play. And the Bulls will now get somebody up. It's going to be Chris Muller. Rortvedt at second base. 1 out, 3 straight hits after the punch out of Pita against Perdomo. And that pitch bounces in. Stopped by Pinto, holds the runner at second. And it just looks like Perdomo, for one of the few times in a couple of weeks, has just kind of lost his bearings out there after the home run by Volpe. The infield single, a stolen base, and the wild pitch on the cross up. And then the slider knocked for a double by Rortvedt. 2-1. Just missed the outside edge. Jacksonville's game tonight has been suspended by rain in the bottom of the first. Guessing both managers won't be thrilled with that. 3-1 up and away, and a walk to Lamar. And a 4th straight RailRider aboard with 1 out in this 7th inning. I think Brian Reith is going to pay a visit to Angel Perdomo. So Reith out of the Bulls dugout, heading to the mound as the pitches begin to pile up, as does the frustration for Perdomo, giving Muller an opportunity to get ready. Scranton leading 5-2. 4th game of the series is tomorrow. A couple of 8-game winners match up. Herget for the Bulls, 8-1. Crook for Scranton, 8-7. Taj Bradley will then get the ball on Saturday for the Bulls. And then Easton McGee scheduled to go again on Sunday against Sean Boyle. So Boyle and McGee match up on Labor Day. Rick Knapp with the tip of the cap from the bullpen to Brady Williams in the dugout. So Perdomo will get at least one more batter here. Trying to keep the Bulls in it. Runners first and second. And a break ball hit on one hop to third. Could be two. Gray up to Edwards. The relay doubles up Evans. And Perdomo exits the 7th inning. But damage inflicted by Scranton. Volpe with his 2nd home run of the night, and then a Rortvedt RBI double. Stretch time in Durham. RailRiders 5, Bulls 2. Last of the 7th inning from Durham. 5-2 RailRiders lead it. And Mitch Spence is done. He's qualified for win number 2. And the Cary native, 6 innings, acquitted himself very well tonight. Couple of runs, struck out 7, just 1 walk, and 4 hits, and had that run after the game opening single by Vidal Brujan, where he then retired 12 in a row. So the former Bull and former Tampa Bay Ray, Anthony Volpe, will come in and face his former squad and a lot of his ex-teammates. And for Volpe, just outrighted off of the roster by the Yankees a couple of days ago, did accept the assignment. So Volpe comes on for the bottom of the 7th inning. And he has had a circuitous 2022 season. And the opening pitch from Volpe, fastball on the inside corner for strike 1. Volpe appeared with the Bulls in 2018 and 2019. He's been in the big leagues with 3 different teams this year. Strike 2 on a fastball to Pinto. Volpe with the Pirates, with Toronto, and with the Yankees. And the 0-2 from the lefty is high. Ball and 2 strikes. He was DFA'd by Toronto in early August, outrighted, but he refused, became a free agent, signed by Seattle. Was with the Mariners for like 2 weeks, and then picked up by the Yankees. DFA'd by the Yankees earlier in the week, outrighted, and did accept, and he will probably finish the year here with Scranton as Pinto strikes out on the appeal at first base. 1 out in the 7th inning. A 5-2 lead for the RailRiders, and now Tristan Gray. Double and a run scored tonight for the Bulls in 2 trips. And the high leg kick, and Volpe's fastball down the middle, strike 1. Muller still finishing up for Durham. He'll get at least the 8th. Pitch from Volpe, broken bat, little pop up on the infield. Volpe will grab it behind the second base bag. Where did that bat wind up? Is that up on the screen? In the screen?
It's in the screen.
It's stuck in the screen. Hanging about 15 feet from the top. Literally hanging by a toothpick straight down. Sawed off. And that bat, it's like Spider-Man climbing the Empire State Building right there. It's just stuck. And nobody wants to get near it.
It's like one of those hanging icicles in the wintertime, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to walk under there.
No.
It's going to kill me if it comes down. So Gray pops out. 2 outs, nobody on. Haley in the box takes strike 1, and everybody is focused on that bat. I mean, that bat is, what, 35, 40 feet up off of the ground. And anytime there's an unresolved issue that nobody's ever seen before, Scott Strickland is always the first on the scene. Pitch downstairs. So Strickland calmly walking down the steps, hands in his pockets, into the Durham Bulls dugout. And he will puzzle out a solution in between innings to get that bat down with no harm done. Fastball high. I've never seen that before.
I haven't either, but I think it's on the field side, which is good.
Yes.
It's away from the fans. It's not going to fall randomly and hurt somebody in the seats. But nonetheless, it's going to be concerning.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. We've seen some weird things this year. Rayleigh tossing it his bat after a walk last week in Charlotte, I thought was going to be the craziest thing. This might be the craziest thing. Here's the 2-2, up and away. it wouldn't be so bad if the handle were actually through one of the openings and kind of like hanging at an angle. But I mean, it's hanging straight down. I mean, how strong is that tiny piece of wood that's holding up the entire weight of that bat? Swing and a miss, and Haley down on strikes, and now we'll figure out how to dislodge that bat without impaling anybody. We'll head to the 8th inning. Scranton with a 5-2 lead. Five-2 lead for Scranton in the top of the 8th inning. And that bat is still hanging from the screen behind home plate. Untouched, unbothered. It's like a copperhead in your backyard. I'm not going near it. Let's ignore it and hope the situation just kind of resolves itself. Scott Strickland did head out to talk with the home plate umpire, Takahito Matsuda, about whether we do anything with it. Now, the interesting thing is it could stay there the rest of the night. Or there could be a foul ball here in a second. They could splash into that screen. First pitch, this is not going to do it. Looper into center field, racing in Brujan, and makes a casual catch with that glove outstretched to his left to retire Alvarez. Chris Muller, the new pitcher for the Bulls, and he is coming off of far and away his most dominant outing of the season earlier in this series. I mean, it was spectacular. Fastball is 97, 98. The changeup was perfect. And now we'll see if he can replicate that as he misses just a little down on Tyler Wade. I mean, Brady Williams said in the pregame show the next day about that appearance that Muller made. If he can do that with regularity, he is going to have a very long major league career. Here's the 1-0. Fastball whistled inside and up, ball 2. Top of the 8th, it's 5-2 Scranton. Perdomo, 3 runs, all earned over 2 innings of work, 5 hits. Struck out 3, walked 1, gave up the home run to Volpe in the 7th inning. Here's Muller's 2-0. Swing and a miss, overpowered him with a fastball. So when the Bulls were in Charlotte, we saw Luke Raley toss the bat away and hit a throw that was destined for third base out of the catcher's hand. And then we saw a squirrel that ran onto the field and was in center field as play was continuing, just hanging out in the shallow center field grass. It almost went right into the glove of the second baseman. It basically hopped the side wall on the first base line, ran through the infield, and I think it was Lenine Sosa at second base was kind of in a fielding position because play wasn't going on. The squirrel ran almost into his glove and then took a right-hand turn and went into the outfield grass and hung out there for 5 or 6 minutes. And now we see this. Bouncing ball, chopped through the middle. Williams waits on the top spin, muscles the throw, and Haley does dig this one. And that was about 8 feet in front of him on the backhand side.
Yeah, that was an in-between hop. Williams spiked this one into the ground. He got rid of it quickly, and Haley made a fine play to come up with it.
I think Haley in the back of his mind is saying, why couldn't I pick the one last inning? Because that led to an infield single, and a run did score as a result. I mean, he works on those short hop plays pregame every day with Brady Williams. Perfect on this effort. 2 outs, nobody on, and McDowell misses a breaking pitch from Muller. McDowell 1 for 3. 44th appearance for Muller. That leads the staff. Bouncing ball foul, and just over the extended bat to Matt Pita. Try to croquet that one down. RailRiders are safe over there. The bat's on the other side. Hanging above the Bulls on deck circle. Two-strike pitch from Muller. And this one's lined into right center. Across quickly, Cardenas, and he will get there. No, it's off his glove. Rolls through the grass, and McDowell is going to reach. Cardenas running to his right. Had Brujan running behind him. It was Cardenas. His ball kind of slicing back to him. Reached the glove up and went off of the glove and dropped And that's going to be his third error in 2 games. Just missed the catch.
Just missed the catch is all. Bruhan gives away. He knows that Cardenas is going to come across, make the play. He one-hands it. It hits off the glove, extends the inning with 2 outs for Scranton.
So that's going to give Pete a swing on the house in this 8th inning. 5-2 Scranton. Bouncing ball softly hit behind the pitcher. Muller will be fielded by Xavier Edwards, who throws out Pete to retire the side. So no harm done on that drop in the outfield. Middle of 8. Bulls trailing Scranton 5-2. Durham Bulls baseball brought to you in part by Couch Oil and the Couch Oil Cares College Scholarship. 6 $1,000 scholarships were awarded about 6 weeks ago here at the DBAP to just graduated high school seniors here in the central North Carolina area. One of the winners, Jacob Thorne out of Heritage High School in Wake Forest, heading on to North Carolina A&T as a landscape architecture major. Congrats to Jacob and all of the other winners. And our great thanks again to Steve Couch, Janice Couch Thompson, and the entire Couch Oil organization, delivering to the region since 1949. 5-2, RailRiders lead, last of the 8th. Bonda gets a second frame, and Cardenas leads things off and is quickly in a 2-strike hole. Bonda retired this side in order in the 7th inning, couple of punch-outs. This is his RailRider debut after he was outrighted by the Yankees. Bonda 2 appearances for New York, gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning total. Fastball outside. But 7 games with the Blue Jays, 23 games with the Pirates. Had a chance to catch up with Anthony before the game yesterday. Here's the 1-2 and strikes out Cardenas with a fastball at 93. First out, 8th inning. But Bonda told me yesterday that as much as he's been kind of wandering around from organization to organization this year, thought he found a home with the Pirates. He's been DFA'd several times, but he feels like mentally, he said he's in the best mental space he's been in a while. And that's great to hear for Anthony Bonda, who again pitched with the Bulls a few years ago. Made his major league debut with Arizona, then got up with the Rays in 18 and 19. 1 ball, 1 strike counts on Alika Williams. And the pitch from Bonda, another fastball up around the letters. Now has a 3-year-old son, Bonda, who's been traveling around with him most of this year. Breaking ball a little bit low.
Well, when you can throw strikes and you throw in the mid-90s from the left side,
yeah,
you're going to find work.
Mm-hmm. Bonda just turned 29 last month. 3-1 pitch. Fastball popped out of play to the right. Full count on Williams, who came through with a big hit in the 5th inning for the Bulls that tied the game. Ground went the other way, or right over the bag. That drew the Bulls even on that double. But 3 unanswered by the RailRiders for the lead, and Williams takes low and draws a walk with 1 out in the 8th. Top of the order due. We'll see if that might kickstart something for the Bulls. It is definitely going to kickstart the bullpen for Scranton behind Bonda. So Bruhan the hitter. He'll bat right-handed for the first time tonight. Alvarez playing in at third. And the first pitch on Vidal, up and away, a fastball from Bonda. Now you get 1 more base runner, tying run comes up. And a right-hander throwing behind Bonda, the 1-0. Oh, and a meager cut there. It was kind of a, I'm going to swing. I don't want to swing, and it's too late. Ball and a strike now on Bruhan. Bond is set. And the 1-1. And a Brujan full cut that time. Fouls one off. And how about Takahito Matsuda? He just threw about a 78-mile-an-hour fastball back to Banda.
He's loose.
You better not miss.
Yeah, he's loose. He's stretched out and ready to go.
Jacob Barnes throwing in the pen. 1-2 on Brujan. Williams at first. And that strikes out Brujan. He thought it was low, didn't like the call. And Brujan sent on his way. Strikes out for the second time tonight. 2 outs in the 8th inning.
Well, a well-placed fastball that's on the inside part of the plate, says Takahito Matsuda. Brujan doesn't like it, but that's a pretty close pitch. Tough to take with 2 strikes.
5-2 RailRiders in the 8th. Edwards the hitter, low next. And the outfield plays Edwards a bit the other way. He, like Brujan, turns around and bats right-handed and misses that Banda fastball. That bat, meanwhile, still defying gravity.
It's a lawn dart hanging in the net.
There's a lot of pine tar on that handle.
It's probably why it's staying where it is.
Stuck. Fly ball to right, pushing back Lamar a couple of steps, twists back around and makes the catch, heading back toward the corner. A walk with 1 out, but nothing else against Banda. Through 8, RailRiders trying to draw another game closer to first place Durham. Scranton leads 5-2. We've reached the 9th inning from Durham. 5-2 lead for Scranton. Bulls tied things up with a couple of runs in the bottom of the 5th inning, but the RailRiders got a run in the 6th on a sac fly by Alvarez. 2 more in the 7th inning. And now the Bulls will bring in their closer, Javi Guerra, just to get some work. So Guerra comes on in a 5-2 deficit in the 9th inning. A rare position for him, but he's throwing for the first time since Monday. And a fastball at the knees, outside 97 on his first offering. Chris Muller, another solid outing here in the 8th inning. Only base runner reached on a drop catch in right field by Cardenas. Just needed 10 pitches to get through. Volpe has homered twice tonight, his first 2 of his AAA career. And this now will be a test, facing Javi Guerra. Homered in the 5th against Walker and in the 7th against Perdomo. And now he gets Javi Guerra, arguably the top closer in this league. And the righty's pitch at the knees, outside ball 3. Now for a guy who, at least over the last couple of months, has been accustomed to coming in 9th inning with a lead, nail down a save. This is kind of uncharted waters for Guerra, so he needs to kind of develop his own interest, right?
Well, you do. It's a different feel for somebody that's used to closing games in pressure situations. And if there is no pressure, that can change the complexion of the outing for Guerra.
A little question from the dugout of Scranton on what the count was. It is 3-0 on Volpe. And Guerra's pitch is hit in the air to right. Did he do it again? Going back is Cardenas to the wall, and he will make a jumping catch on that ball right in front of the wall in the right field corner. Bidding for a trifecta in this, just his 6th AAA game. He will settle for a 2-home run contest tonight.
On a 3-0 count, no less. The guy with speed turned loose, nobody on, lets it rip, and hits it to the warning track.
First out, 9th inning. Here's Owens. And Guerra gets a fastball by him at 97. Now Guerra, like Perdomo we talked about earlier, was DFA'd by the Rays back in early May. He seems to be a candidate. Again, the Rays are heading to Toronto after that Yankees series. And he would be a guy potentially the Rays would take a look at. Looper to center field, scrambling in. Brujan thought about diving and held up and snatched that ball for the second time in a row on a bounce. And the fourth consecutive hit by Owens. He's 4 for 5 tonight.
Well, it's another pitch that's on the outside part of the plate, but yet Owings takes it up the middle, dumps it in front of Vidal Brujan. It's a one-out base runner for Scranton.
And their 14th hit of the game. Rortvedt, a couple of doubles tonight. Fastball rips the inside third, strike one. Yeah, but the Rays, when they go to Toronto, have 5 games in 4 days. They have a doubleheader mixed in. Sidearm throw to first by Guerra. And the last time the Rays went up to Toronto, again with the COVID vaccination restrictions and a couple of Rays relievers, at least in late June, they weren't vaccinated. Raley and Thompson didn't make that trip. We'll find out as they head to Toronto if that has changed. But nevertheless, the Rays are likely going to call up a couple of guys. And Javi Guerra, a guy that certainly would get some consideration, although he's not on the 40, but you can add him even on that doubleheader day as maybe the 29th man, and then send him back without exposing him to waivers. Brady Williams did say the other day that Guerra, although he's been a 1-inning guy for the Bulls, he's going to be stretched out at some point to 2 innings, probably later on in this series. And that's coming down from Tampa Bay. Swinging a pop-up, hangs behind first, across is Edwards, into foul grounds, and can't make the catch. The ball did land on the inside pitcher's mound, but only a couple of feet away from that half-brick wall.
Your only chance of catching that is A, getting over there earlier, and then sliding so your momentum stops before you run into that wall. It's just placed perfectly where nobody could get at it. Great effort by Edwards to get over there. Still an 0-2 count.
Bulls in the bottom of the 9th will have Lowe, Raley, and Pinto. And it looks like Barnes is still up and getting ready to come in. Bonnet has thrown a couple of innings. Spence went 6 and is in line for the win. Guerra misses down and in. I mean, so far the Bulls just haven't played well enough to win this game tonight.
No, the story of the game for me is Mitch Spence pitching terrifically. He did a great job of keeping this lineup off balance. 14 hits for Scranton so far, to the Bulls 4. A productive offense, and there's your story.
Yeah, up and away, 2-2, but some defensive mistakes, some base running mistakes. Inability to close out some innings. That delayed steal was costly as well. But still one more shot. Guerra hauling 2-2, and he gets him swinging. So Rortvedt strikes out against Guerra, second out, 9th inning. And now Lamar.
Oh, good put away pitch for Guerra. Rortvedt swings right through it. He's asking if that's going to be a called strike. I don't think it is, but the movement on that really fooled him. And a good pitch from the right-hander for the Bulls.
All right, now Ryan Lamar, been on base a couple of times tonight. Slider, strike one at his knees. 6:35 tomorrow. Fireworks following the game. Only one more Firework Friday left here at the DBAP after tomorrow. One strike pitch. It is chopped foul, strike 2. But expected to be a big day. It's also Star Wars night tomorrow. So bring your model Millennium Falcon.
My Chewbacca mask.
Yeah.
It's not movie quality, but it's still.
Oh, 0-2 on Lamar. And the pitch. A high, well-struck ball to left. And a 2-run homer by Ryan Lamar. Goodness. Off of Diamond View 2. Plink goes down to the patio seats, and it's a 7-2 Scranton lead. And Lamar may very well have just put this game out of reach.
Well, that's the exclamation point, because this ball was a no-doubter. It looked to be a hanging slider. Lamar gets all of it, and I'm Not sure what deck it hit, but a no-doubter nonetheless.
And everybody knew it. That hit about 2.5 stories up. That is the third home run by Lamar, but that's the first time Guerra has given one up all year. 7-2 now, Scranton. Strike one on Phillip Evans. 15 Scranton hits. They've now hit 4 home runs tonight. Alvarez, Volpe has hit a pair, and that one by Lamar. So 18 games to go after tonight. The Bulls' lead is about to shrink to 2.5. 1-1 on the outside corner.
It's going to be a fun 3 weeks. And if you have fingernails now, you're likely not going to have them at the end.
There's the 1-2 from Guerra. Break the ball. Sailed out. Cardenas his way in right. Gives up ground by a couple of steps. Now in a few. Evans flies to right. 9th inning is done. But a bomb of a home run to left by Ryan Lamar gives Scranton a 5-run lead. Last call for the Bulls. RailRiders 7, Durham 2. 7-2 lead for Scranton. Bulls last shot here in the bottom of the 9th inning. The RailRiders 3 outs away from drawing to within 2.5 of first place. Durham with 18 to go. Jimmy Cordero, a 30-year-old right-hander, is in. Second time the Bulls have seen him in this series. He replaces Anthony Bonda. 2 nearly perfect innings for Bonda. Just a 1-out walk to Alika Williams in his second frame. And Cordero up and away, ball 1 on Josh Lowe. 24th appearance for Cordero. ERA at just 1.86. 38 strikeouts in his 29 innings. And there's ball 2 tailing wide on Lowe. Seven runs, 15 hits for Scranton. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Bulls. 2-0. Lowe. 3-0. Barnes had been throwing. They sat him down after the home run by Ryan Lamar. So Cordero comes on for the 9th. And the 3-0 full take, and it's a 4-pitch walk. Rally has to start somewhere. And Lowe is aboard. That home run by Lamar makes things extra tough for the Bulls in this 9th inning. Raley 0-3. See if he forces Cordero to throw a strike, and he does. Sinker on the inner black. So Scranton would pull to within 2.5 with a win. Jacksonville's game was suspended in the first inning due to rain. Pitch on Raley downstairs. Lehigh Valley about to split a doubleheader with Worcester. Won the opener 5-1. They're losing 8-1 in the 5th inning of game 2. So Lehigh Valley would pick up a half a game on the Bulls. They'd move to within 4. Jacksonville would also move to within 4. And Scranton to within 2.5. 18 to go. 1-1 count on Raley. And Cordero's pitch hits him. 2-on with nobody out. It's as if Raley just has a baseball magnet in that shin guard. I mean, he's been hit about a half a dozen times in 3 weeks in that same spot.
Well, this hit him on the top of the foot. It's a slider that Cordero holds on to too long. And allows that second base runner. And this is where Lamar's home run becomes huge, because you got one swing of the bat that ties it up. Had the score stayed the same, but now there's going to be a significant rally required by the Bulls to get back into this one.
And the bullpen for Scranton just beginning to activate. Arms are being stretched. They don't want to get somebody loose, but they're going to have to at least soft toss to be ready in case this really breaks down. Strike one at the knees on Pinto. It was an easy 97 from Cordero. Pinto singled and scored one of the 2 runs of the 5th. That is the only inning in which the Bulls have scored tonight. Look back at low by Cordero. In the 0-1 on the outer third. Strike 2. Nobody out first, 2 have reached. Right-hander starting to throw behind Cordero. Pinto waits. And Cordero's pitch, not close. 2-strike slider, a couple of feet outside. Tristan Gray on deck, and then Jim Haley. And Cordero shuffles, set. And the 1-2, Pinto reaches for it, misses the pitch, and it's been a frustrating night for Pinto, down on strikes for the 3rd time.
It was a slider that started on the outside part of the plate. Pinto thought he had to protect, and the ball just dives out of the zone.
First out, 9th inning. Tristan Gray, 4th at bat of the game. He is 1 for 3 with a double to left back in the 5th. Left-handed hitter. Target away from Wortvet. And Cordero's pitch is popped up. Easy ball for Pita in left, to his left, now coming in and makes a 2-handed catch. And just like that, 2 outs in the 9th. So a promising start to what the Bulls needed to be a large inning. Fizzling down now, 2 outs, 2 on, still a 7-2 RailRider lead. And Jim Haley trying to persevere and keep this game alive. Haley 0 for 3. It's driven in a run with a ground out. And takes strike 1. Well, the way the last 3 months have gone in this league, I mean, we've seen 6 teams within 2 or 3 games the lead. I don't think anybody expected any team to pull away and win this division by 6 games. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Off speed is missed inside. Strike 2 on Haley. But things are getting a little bit tighter in the East. (7-2) RailRiders. And Cordero is a strike away. Lifts the leg, brings it home, strikes out Haley. And Scranton is now within 2.5 of the Bulls. They defeat Durham for the 2nd straight night, 7-2. A 2-game-to-1 series lead of the Bulls. And now how important are the next 3 nights here at the D-Bell?
Well, they're of the utmost importance for the Bulls to make some hay while they have the chance and the Scranton team in, so you can get some separation. But tonight it was all Scranton. It was set up by Mitch Spence, who was brilliant with his breaking ball. He went 6 innings. Only gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, struck out 7. That set the stage for the Scranton offense to take over. Volpe, he had 2 home runs. Lamar adds 1 late. Alvarez had 1 early. And it was too much for the Bulls tonight as they fall.
All right, well, buckle up. 18 games left. The Bulls still in the lead by 2.5 games. But Scranton now, a late surge to get right back in the race. Game 4 of the series tomorrow night, Star Wars night at the D-Bell. 6:35 first pitch, couple of 8-game winners. Kevin Hergen, Matt Crook will match up. 6:35 first pitch, television airtime 6:30, radio at 6:20. Once again, your final score, Scranton 7, Durham 2. radio side. Stick around. Post-game show coming up on the TV side. Thank you for watching. Scranton over the Bulls 7-2. Good night from the Bull City.